probably only playing because you told you have to get in.
Well, we want to
And you want
start that
sure,
clock,
yes.
but you can't derail it.
No, 100%. 100%.
Hey!
All right.
Walk.
Rock, I don't know. It definitely makes
Kazi? Jordan, you got lineups?
Yeah.
We can do it with the next game.
started today, we want to wish America happy 249th birthday. Especially as we kick off now the 250th birthday of America this year-long celebration between now and July 4th of next year. Wow, what a year this will be. We welcome everybody being here today. No better place than being on a baseball field for the 4th of July. Having some apple pie. Do you have a name yet for them? And throwing out the first pitch, I believe, is Victor Vargas. Is that correct? I don't have a name. Michael? I think there's your first pitch right there. Get us a name.
Who is it? What is it?
And throwing out the first pitch today is Vince Vargas. A legitimate strike, Vince. You better stay to the red jersey on. Well done. Thank you, Vince, and thank you for being here. Happy Independence Day.
Happy 4th.
And let's take a look at the Red Hawks defense out there today. Starting behind the plate at catcher, Brandon Gutierrez. At first base, C.J. Moran. At second base, Cooper Jones. At third base, Kyle Miller. At shortstop, Terrell Reed. In center field, Nolan Erwin. In right field, Matt Pianas. In left field, Colton Stanton. And on the mound today from Murray, Utah, attending Salt Lake Community College, number 33, Dan Rousseau. And our starting lineup for the Blue Crew will be Christian Gross with Jaden Garrison on deck, and Tanner Johns in the hole. Not bad for a 405 start. The nation has cooperated, and here we go. Let's play ball. Welcome to Gatesville and Marshall's Baseball 2020.
All right, we're live here from Gates Field. Michael Goodkind with you. Was just in the huddle right now. I'm amped up. I was amping up the Red Hots as much as I possibly could before this game. As first pitch off, and Christian Gross fouls it off. And the 0-1, now 1-1. 0-2, rather. Good to have everybody here on America's birthday for a 4th of July edition of Marshall's Baseball. Thanks for being here, everybody. Beautiful weather, cooperating. We got a 1-2 in the count. 1-2. And got him looking. So Christian Gross down on strikes and Brosseau. His first K of the day on the first AB of the day. So Christian Gross down on strikes. And here comes Jaden Garrison to the plate. Oh, yeah, I was right here, yeah. Yep. Daniel Brousseau on the hill. And that one clocked to center field. It's got some carry to it. Wow, that was the most subtle first home run I've ever seen. A solo shot for Jaden Garrison deep into the Wasatch Mountains. And it's 1-0. Blue Crew in the top of the first inning. Coach Jaco and company. His squad's fired up after losing last night. Here they are off to a good start. 1-0, top one. Yo. Uh-huh. Daniel Brousseau. From Salt Lake Community College, he's a righty, and hometown is Murray, Utah. Went to Murray High School and was a part of the slick team that won the JUCO World Series. Brousseau deals a ball, 2-0.
Oh, that was sweet of you to bring me lunch. How did you know my order was?
That one clocked to opposite field, and aboard is Tanner Johns. So runner on first, and 1-0 Blue Crew lead. And Tanner Carson to the plate. Tanner Carson from Southlake, Texas. First pitch to him. Misses 1-0. One out. Brousseau deals, and that one misses. Gets by, and that'll advance Garrison. Johns rather to the second base. So Tanner Johns now on second. Yo, that pen, by the way, Cause, is you have it, the green one? You have that green pen? Tanner Carson grounds to second, moves the runner to third. And Jose Lopez, the Miami kid, now to the dish. Jose Lopez, one of the better catchers in this league. Lopez swing and a miss. And that was a fastball from Brousseau. He's got a pretty nasty fastball, which he deals from time to time. 0-2. Lopez fouls it back. Stays 0-2 in the count. Lopez cracks that one foul, and multiple foul balls keep him in the count 0-2. Oh, 2 out. And that one skied to center field. Under it for the final out of the inning is Nolan Eberwine from USC, and that'll do it for the inning. Okay, so 1 run on 2 hits, one of them a massive home run from Jaden Garrison. And we will be right back, guys. We got a 1-0 Blue Crew lead on America's birthday. Stay with us. A.J. Thomas from Mapleton, Utah to the plate. As that one fouled off. A.J. Thomas from Maple Mountain High School. And 2-1 in the count. A.J. Thomas down on strikes. That one roped into left field, got some carry to the wall, and a beautiful catch in left field from Nico Taylor. And here's C.J. Moran, transferring to UC San Diego. He was a San Diego State Aztec last year. He is a hitting machine for this squad, and you'll see that as the season goes. The kid can absolutely hit. Great to have a good crew here. 51 viewers. There's a pitch strike. 1-1 in the count. That one cracked opposite field. Taylor on the run. Can't get there. It gets past him, and that's extra bases for C.J. Moran as he's on second with a stand-up double. And Cooper Jones to the plate. Cooper Jones fouls that one off. 1-1 in the count. Two outs. And Blue Crew leading 1-0. Cooper Jones, swing and a miss. He went around. 1-2. And he got him. Yes, he did. Drop third strike. Gavin gets out of the inning, and the throw down to first is in time. So Jones K's on that for Gavin's second strikeout of the day, and a solid first inning. For Gavin Akizin. All right, we'll be right back. 4th of July, thanks for being here. We'll be right back on a beautiful, beautiful afternoon on Independence Day. Stay with us. Okay, we're back. Ian Draper going to be the batter. Draper smokes one in left center field. On the run, tough play, and that gets past Eberwine. Draper will head for second on his horse and get there easily. A stand-up double for the shortstop, Ian Draper. Here's Cole Ide to the plate. Cole Ide from Honolulu, Hawaii, going to Santa Barbara City College. Beautiful school. And committed to UC Santa Barbara. Outfielder who also plays first base. 0-1 to Ide, and that one fouled off, so it's 0-2 in the count. Oh, 2, nobody out. America's birthday. Beautiful day in the Wasatch Front. We're looking at 51 viewers. It's a lot of viewers for us. We'll take it. Brousseau still on the hill. He deals. And that one inside, 1-2 in the count. Ide fouls that off. Stays 1-2. Miles per hour for infield throws. Yeah. You would not want to be Tanner Johns at first base today, that's for sure. The 1-2. That one cracked to second. Routine play, throw to first in time. Still moves around to the third. And here's Nico Taylor to the plate. First pitch to Taylor. 1-0. Blue Crew hungry after losing 12-3 last night to the Mavs. In a game that they really held on to for a lot of the time, and then it was all Mavs later in the late innings. So I think they're just hungry to win. 1-0, 1 out. Swing and a miss. The 1-1 from Brousseau. That one missed. 2-1. And that one missed. 3-1 in the count. Nico Taylor. From De Anza High School in El Sobrante, California. Heck of a shortstop and second baseman. Nico skies that one to center field. Eberwein under it. That should score the run. Here he comes. There will not be a throw. It's a sacrifice. RBI fly for Nico Taylor. So Blue Crew now up 2-0. Manufacturing runs here in the first inning. Alex Jang, the batter. First pitch to Jang, 1-0. One, 2 outs. Top of the second inning. Off-speed pitch, fouled off, 1-2. And that misses 2-2. Alex Jang from Las Vegas, Nevada. Faith Lutheran High School. And that one grounded to C.J. Moran. He will step on the bag for the final out of the inning. So 1 run on 1 hit, and the Blue Crew leading 2-0. We'll be back at the bottom of the second right after these messages. Stay with us. And that one hit the second for the first out of the inning. So Cal Miller down on a 4-3. And here's Reed. Terrell Reed gets that into the gap and just past the glove of Ian Draper for a single. And Nolan Eberwine from the University of Southern California now to the plate, 1 out. Eberwine smokes one into center field, and there for the out is Jaden Garrison. So the center fielder flies out to center field. And Reed still on first, and here is Matt Tiendas to the plate. Pitch to Tiendas, and Keeson deals, and that one's a ball 1-0. Keeson pitching really well today. Gavin Keeson from Kingsburg, California, part of the class of 2025. Fresno State kid. Pretty nasty ERA for his varsity career, 1.87. And he's completed he's tossed 4 complete game hitters with 13 strikeouts. 1-1, 2 out. Tiendas at the dish. And here's Matt Tiendas to the plate. The 2-1, and that one lined foul. Count even 2. And here's Colton Stanton to the plate after the single from Matt Tiendas. First pitch to Stanton is a strike. And 1-1. And make it 1-2. One, two out. Stanton runners on first and second. Stanton smacks one up the middle, and that'll drop for a base hit. Here comes one run. He will score. It's an RBI single for Colton Stanton. As Terrell Reed scores from second base easily. And here's the Mapleton, Utah kid from Maple Mountain High School, A.J. Thomas to the plate. Runners on first and second. 2 outs. Swing and a miss. Thomas smacks one the other way. Here comes Tiendas from second. No, he'll stop at third, and it loads the bases. So A.J. Thomas with a single. And here is Gutierrez to the plate. Good inning for the Red Hots, following it up by 2 runs straight for the Blue Crew in 2 straight innings. Braden Gutierrez, 1 swing of the bat, can make this the first Red Hots lead of the day in the bottom of the 2nd inning. Got a beautiful crowd here on social media. 72 viewers thus far on, looks like a lot of you guys on Twitter, so. Great crowd. And that one misses. 1-0. And make it 2-0. Two out. And that one misses. Here comes the run. The throw home. The tag. The keys in. Did not get him. So Tiendas, Jackie Robinson's from third base and scores on the pass ball, and it's now 2-2. Runners on second and third now on the pass ball as well. 3-0 in the count, and things looking good for the Red Hots. Gutierrez. Keeson steps off. Back onto the rubber. And let's see if Gutierrez will get the green light on the 3-0. And that hits 3-1. Two out. And the pitch, that one fouled off. Count now full. Nice job by Keeson to battle back in the count. Gavin Keeson, Fresno State kid, going to be his first year as a freshman. Played for 2-5 baseball, his club and travel team, and along with his great pitching, also hit pretty well in high school, 336 career batting average, along with an OBP of 425. Keeson looks in and deals. That one misses and walked him. So Gutierrez aboard on his second AB after flying out the first AB. And here's C.J. Moran to the plate. Bases loaded. C.J. first pitch swing and a big one, fouls it back to the screen, 0-1. C.J. Moran, a kid from San Diego State University. He will be transferring to UC San Diego into the Mountain West Conference. Big West, actually, coming from the Mountain West to the Big West. And the pitch, that one hits 0-2. Got to protect the dish if you're CJ. Vince Vargas going to be joining us on the broadcast. A legendary Patriot. As that misses 1-2. Just wrote a book called Healing Through Hitting. And it's focused on helping veterans heal mentally through hitting a baseball. He's also a veteran himself. That one cracked to right field, and that could be the inning. Routine fly ball is caught in right by Christian Gross, and that will do it. So through 2, we are tied at 2, and the next inning we will have Vince Vargas with us. 3 men stranded, 2 runs scored. The Red Hots back in this one, tied at 2. Be right back.
Hey, great pitch there. Thank you. Appreciate it. Real strike for the first pitch.
Which way you want to sit here or there?
I'll sit here because I have my scorecard here.
I pitched in college. Luckily it still throws strikes.
Make sure you're in the camera.
Yeah. Let's see.
All right, we're on. Do you hear yourself?
I
That's
do
you.
hear,
Yeah,
I
you're
do
on.
hear myself.
Okay, there we go.
I don't
All right.
see myself. There he is.
There we go.
There he is.
Yeah. For Independence Day, we got a special guest. We got Vince Vargas on the broadcast. Vince, you played college baseball.
I did. Got in trouble more than I did anything.
Yeah, did you?
Yeah.
Talk about. So where do you play? Where do you play baseball?
I played some junior college in California. The last college I played for was Glendale Community College. We did really well. We went to the Junior College World Series, and then I ended up getting a full ride to a school in Kentucky called Brescia University, which is an NAIA college.
Okay.
So
you played 4 years.
three. The
Three.
fourth year was academically ineligible. I joined the military.
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah.
What? How far do you go in the military?
I did a total of 18 years. I did 4 years active
Wow.
duty with 2nd of the 75th Ranger Regiment. Did 3 tours, 2 to Afghanistan, 1 to Iraq. Got out, did some reserve time all the way until, in 2023, I medically retired. Just kind of pursue other things.
When you're touring like that, you did 3. Like, are you just like looking forward to coming back home?
When you're in that world of it, no. Like special operations, Ranger Battalion has a very special culture.
Yep.
We are born and bred and trained to go to war. War is kind of an easier lifestyle. You have to worry about one thing, getting shot in the face. But outside of that, you don't have to worry about bills. You don't have to worry about kids. So it tends to be a little bit easier lifestyle.
Really?
Coming home is a tough transition.
It's got to be weird, right?
Yeah,
when you come back.
Yeah, because like I said, combat's easy. War is easy. Coming home is hard, man.
What are you sleeping in when you're on tour?
My first deployment, we had just the regular military Army green cots.
Yep.
Just a cot, but then my second one, we started having like wood hooches, still with those cots, but you had a little bit better bed lifestyle. And then it kind of improved on my third one as well. So it just kind of evolved as we.
So it's not bad.
Yeah, it's not terrible.
It's not terrible.
No, it's like camping with the boys.
Wow, every night.
Every night.
I can imagine it probably gets pretty nefarious.
Yeah,
a lot of testosterone.
Yeah, people are trying to sneak alcohol, and things like that. It's funny.
Yeah.
It's seriously, it's a boys' camp. It's a good time until it's not a good time, right? But
Until it's not a good. And then how often are you busy every day doing stuff on tour?
it really depends on the deployment.
Okay.
When I was in Afghanistan, it was kind of hit and miss. When I was in Iraq, it was almost every day, multiple different missions, and so it just kind of, like I said, every area of Afghanistan or Iraq has different op tempo. And we were in Mosul in 2005, and at that point, it was kind of a hotbed of combat. It was pretty good.
Hotbed of combat meaning what?
A lot of targets, right?
Oh, yeah.
So our whole mission was to kill or capture high value targets.
Wow.
We build intelligence teams. They build a package, and we go and get them. And so we did that for about 4 months straight and nonstop. And sometimes it was 3 to 6 missions a day. And come home to drink water, eat, and get a day off to work out, and then you go do it again.
Wow. So it's not much time off at all when you're on the road.
No, not much time. Not much time.
Like and depending on the mission and stuff like
Yeah.
that, right?
Yeah, for that deployment was very specific to show up and do the raids on the houses that we were told are where the threat is, and so we either fly in or we drive in, and it was just in and out, do your thing, come back, gather intel, do it again.
Wow.
And that was a really beautiful time for us. We felt like we were doing things that were important to protecting our nation here in America. You would find guys who have contacts, who have terrorist ties and have contacts to America, and we're out there trying to snatch them up before they're able to, to complete their plans, of hurting America. So it definitely felt like a very successful mission for us.
So is like the CIA like leading the intel part of that?
No. Ranger Battalion has its own intel department.
Okay.
Yeah. No, we wouldn't take any CIA intel. That'd be
so you guys have your own intel department.
Absolutely, we do. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, very different intel, very different world, right? So 2 different missions. The CIA has their own national security kind of mission, and ours is really directed towards combat and disrupting these terrorist organizations.
So, like, how many terrorist organizations were there out there while you were there?
Well, at that time, it was like...
and by the way, I'm saying
you're
this to my
good.
family because I think this
Yeah.
is such a badass interview. I want them to see it.
No, during that time, I think it was
Yeah.
it was Al-Qaeda, and it wasn't ISIS yet. It was Al-Qaeda and... what was the other, Islamic extremist organization?
ISIS.
Yeah, not ISIS. They didn't come until a little later on.
Okay.
But it's just really that you're trying to find the Taliban and Al Qaeda. Those
Wow.
are the two that we were, the 2 groups that we would target.
And you have people on the ground there who are like working to find your targets, right?
Yeah, and it's also us. When you go into a house and get somebody, right? And if he's still alive, then he can answer questions, and then you could also. There's a lot of things we do as a techniques to kind of get information, whether it be through their emails and texts, whether it be, and those guys don't have emails, but phone, right, logs, things like that, or just they tell us, the information. Who are they associated with? Who gave them this information? Blah, blah, blah. And that follows on package, and then we find out where they live and do the same thing.
You got to be like a hard mother to do that, right? Like you got to be so because I'm pretty sympathetic. I think I feel bad for the person, but you
I'll say I've kind of grown a heart since then, right?
Yeah, really, yeah.
Back
Yeah.
then, I was young. The goal was to defend America. 9/11 was pretty recent at that time, so
Yeah.
we were all pretty heated still from that. And as well as you have a mission to do and get home, get safe, and so you do what you do to keep the country safe, and keep your family safe, keep yourself safe.
Amazing stuff, dude. were you ever like any times you were out there and you were like scared for your life multiple times?
Yeah, several times, man. Several
Yeah.
times, we had one of the vehicles blew up in front of us, and so I was like,
Uh.
ooh, that was close.
Anybody die
No,
in that?
not
No.
during my missions. No. Unfortunately, we did lose one in the next deployment where I wasn't there. We lost two great individuals, and that is just the cost of combat. And look, man, things like today is where I have the most gratitude that men like them were willing to sacrifice themselves for this great nation. You know what I'm saying? And I can only wake up with gratitude and say I still have an opportunity to experience this life, and I'm going to do the most I can with it. So coming out to a baseball game for me is optimal.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
This to me is the 4th of July celebration that I want for myself and my family. We've been to baseball games for the past 5 years for the 4th of July because it just represents so much for me personally, but also it's a chance to give gratitude to those who serve this great nation and given us this opportunity.
Dude, it's I mean, this sport is so America.
It is.
It's
It's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
And I was blessed to just be handed the sport as a kid, and
Yeah.
and then to be able to try and give my kids the same tradition of showing up to a ball game. It's been beautiful.
Do you have you had an easy time transitioning back to regular life?
Yeah, I currently work with a lot of veterans and helping them, and we've modeled our system based off of kind of some of the things that I've went through. I think it's really hard for some cultures in the military, groups that are like infantry, those kind of individuals are not willing to express emotions very well. They're not willing to tell you when they need help. And so that kind of caused, I guess, a wave of soldiers or veterans who didn't want to ask for support, didn't want to ask for help, and they find themselves hurting by themselves and alone. We have these high levels of suicide in the veteran community, and so what we've been doing in our organization is really giving veterans the tools they need to heal and as well as to mitigate traumas or hardships. And so giving guys tools and how to look, if you're having a moment, right? Tonight, fireworks. Some veterans are not fans of fireworks, right?
Oh, yeah.
And so getting them into a place where they can breathe, they can kind of calm themselves down, get themselves in a place where they can actually manage themselves, that's important. So we like to teach veterans tools. We like to show them that going to counseling and getting answers is cool. We also do things even deeper, man. We get their blood work checked to see how the hormones are because hormone levels change. A lot of veterans have post-traumatic stress, but on top of TBI, which has caused a very bad cycle of suicide ideation. And so we try to help people get out of these spaces, and we've used baseball as well as a tool to get them to step outside of themselves, go to a batting cage, hit some balls, and get some physical fitness out of it, but accomplishment, but as well as just tracking a baseball is very therapeutic. And so, the flow state of hitting is therapeutic. And so we've tried to implement a lot of different tools for veterans.
So like, when does the PTSD usually start for these guys?
It really, I don't think I'll say it from my experience. I didn't identify I had PTSD until I got out, and I had to do regular life stuff to take my kids to school, sit in traffic, all these things that you kind of don't think about. Now I have no other things to think about, and then these moments, right? So the post-traumatic stress that I've had experience with, was situational. I found myself driving to Arizona. There's a mountain that looks like Afghanistan, and all of a sudden I'm daydreaming about a sniper and potentially this house, and it's just like this thing just kind of spins. And then other things, hypersensitivity to like noise, or easily agitated, and bad dreams. I used to have night terrors all the time, but also day terrors. And so when I started identifying, like, okay, this isn't normal, that's when I was like, welcome to, let me go to counseling. Let me, I don't want to hand this off to my children. That's the big fear. And so I started doing work breathing. I've done Native American sweat lodge. I've done non-psychedelic medicines. I've done all kinds of different things to try and be a guinea pig for myself, but other veterans and first responders as well. And so, to me, it's like you got to just find what works for the individual and keep going.
So it's very evolutionary.
Yes, absolutely.
It's very like primal,
Absolutely.
Because, I mean, you think about it like, thousands of years ago when a human would, like, their whole family would get eaten by a saber-toothed tiger, they probably would walk around being terrified of, like, that same event reoccurring. You know what I mean? Like.
Yeah, absolutely. That's why we
uncontrollably.
Yeah. I would probably walk into a cave with a stick next time.
Right. Yeah. And you probably would have that nightmare, like reoccurring.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then it wouldn't happen again.
Yeah, it's an interesting thing, man. There's a lot of. I've gone to school since, and I have a master's in psychology, and I do a lot with, going to my get my doctorates in psychology as well. And the goal is to find more answers and understand it better, and really to be able to to be able to articulate to other veterans to help them reframe their traumas in a way where they can be successful after. And so that's the goal, is helping veterans find success after service.
By the way, it's an RBI single for Jose Lopez. I just had to write that down so I know what happened.
Okay.
Yeah. So Jose Lopez, RBI singles, both run score. It's 4-2 Blue Crew lead.
So answer me this: the red
yeah.
team and the blue team. Who's the home team? Is that just the home team today?
Yeah, that's the home
Just
team
today?
Just
Got
today.
it.
Yeah. So it will depend on the day.
Well, my wife yelled at me. She said, "We're sitting on the wrong side." I said, "I don't think it matters." But
Wait, why? Like, are you a fan
We're-
of one of the two?
I don't know. We pitched to the red team, so now my wife thinks we need to be on the red team side.
I don't know if it's that complex, you know.
Yeah, well, I got nervous. I was like, I played this game before. I didn't know it was that stressful.
We're turning it into combat over here. My Lord.
Yeah,
That's amazing, man. So you toured for 3 years. Obviously, the PTSD to me is super interesting. As somebody who's struggled myself, I think, mental health wise, and I've started doing a lot of breathing, a lot of Tony Robbins, a lot of yoga.
Yep.
Really, changed my life.
There's a long list of things, there's a long list of things, and you continue to find what works for you, and that's cool that you found that.
Well, I think everybody has a struggle in some capacity.
Life is hard.
It doesn't need to be, but it is.
Well, I think the human experience comes with hardship no matter what, how
Yep.
you put it.
Yep.
Right?
Yep. Well, what's interesting is that, like, if you think about it, like, the odds of us being here are like I've looked it up, and I think it's even less than this. But from what I read, like, the average odds of a human being here, based on like all the historical things that needed to happen, and like your parents meeting, is like 1 in 400 trillion.
Yep.
So if you think about just like you're here, everything after that should not have to be that hard. You've already done the miracle of being here.
Yep.
But we tend to find issues, obviously,
Well,
and make things harder than
It is hard,
need
though,
to be.
right? Like, relationships are hard. Finding someone you love is hard.
Yeah.
Getting through this life and having goals and maybe not making those goals, that's hard, right?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
Things are hard. The experience is the experience. I think when we frame it in a way where it victimizes us, it makes it harder. And that's what we can't do,
Yeah.
right? We have to be in a mindset of, like, growth and learn from it. Like, oh, that was an experience. I'm going to learn from it, keep going. But a lot of us, I believe, sit in the victimhood side, and that makes it 10 times harder.
Totally,
You know
man.
what I mean? And so finding a way, just, man, like I said, when I first got here, it's gratitude. I am happy to be alive. I'm happy to experience the goods and the bads. I'm just happy to have the opportunity to do that.
Yep. Well, I've even noticed, like, as a Jewish person, a lot of people will say, "Oh, it's so hard to be a Jew." I'm like, dude, first off, I feel like, number one, you're playing victim mentality.
Yep.
I can't stand that, man.
I know.
And
I know.
secondly, out in Utah, knock on wood, I haven't dealt with any kind of anti-Semitism personally. So I almost feel like a lot of the time people can say things, and then they make that story up, and then that becomes their storyline, and then they'll do anything to make it real,
Yeah, man, they create their own, they create their own demon they're fighting.
You create your own demon.
Doesn't make sense.
Yep.
And that's a complex topic, right? And
Yeah,
in
yeah.
itself. But a lot of, even in the film and television space, I was an actor on a major television show for 6 years. And
Mayans.
Yes, I was.
Wow.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Okay. Wait, what network was Mayans on?
That's at FX. It's also on Hulu.
Wow. Were you
Yeah.
a main actor on
One
the
of the main
program?
actors, yeah, I was.
Wow.
And then I was a writer for the last season, yeah.
Did you enjoy it?
I loved it. It was one of the best times of my
Dude,
life.
you have a crazy story.
Oh, it's
dude.
it gets crazy right now. But,
Wow.
But, being on that set, a lot of the Latino actors would say, man, we don't get enough roles for us. And my whole mindset was like, well, then write them. Like, you got to take charge of your life.
Yeah.
Diving
What
catch.
a play,
Wow.
dude. What a catch from the center fielder.
Holy smokes, great diving catch.
Unbelievable play from Jaden Garrison in center field.
He had a great read right off the bat.
Cooper Jones flies out, and a miraculous catch for Jaden Garrison in center. Wow.
Yeah, the hat falls off, the glasses
Wow.
fall off, boom, comes down with the ball.
The whole nine. I hope Coach Jaco will clip that and throw that on social media later tonight. So,
Yeah, that'd be great.
He clips all these clips,
Oh, good.
Yeah, dude. So you were a writer on the show too. You acted on the show.
Yeah.
So do you like film and TV, or
I love it. No,
love it?
I'm I just landed a role for Homestead, so I'll be on season 2 and possibly 3 for Homestead, which is a locally filmed TV show.
Okay.
Produced by Angel Studios.
Yep.
So really excited about that role, and I have a couple other things in the works that I've been writing and other things that I'm auditioning for at the moment. So it's just it's a revolving door of having auditions and hoping you get you hit the lotto ticket, and so.
And you could do it from Utah, huh?
Absolutely. No,
Absolutely.
I did mine the whole time from Utah. I just flew.
Yep.
I flew in and knocked it out and flew home.
Okay. I mean, it's I I always think because of the rise of AI, how is film and television going to respond to it?
I mean, I tell you, it's definitely slowed down since the strikes.
Yep.
I had to take a job back with the government. You know, I just recently walked away from that. But
Okay.
But very interesting to see the industry slow down dramatically since the strikes. And so, yeah, I think the truth is we all have to work with AI. I think we're just going to have to find a place where we work with it and use it to your advantage. I don't know how much film and television is going to use it and continue to use it, but I think it's being used every day, whether we like it or not.
Do you think that like AI could make its own content?
I mean,
or it just won't?
we've seen enough stuff in just the propaganda side of like,
Yeah.
you know, some of the wars that look real. And,
Yep.
you know, the funny thing is that I think most of society cannot tell the difference, which makes
scary.
That's scary.
It's
That's
scary.
the scary part.
Yeah.
For me, if I watch something as a fan of film and television acting, I know what's real emotions, right? And
Yep.
so I don't think you'll ever get to that
I don't
point.
want to see a robot. You know,
Right.
I always say this: if I walked into a bar and they were like, "We got an AI band playing," people would be like, "Okay," you know what I mean? I don't think anyone would think it was cool. But if you walked into a bar and they had a real band playing,
Yeah, yeah.
you'd be excited about that.
Yeah,
You know what
yeah.
I'm saying? I think that humans respond well to humans, not to, you know. I'm good buddies with Jazz Bear. We have this conversation a lot.
Oh,
you
that's
know?
my boy, dude. John.
Dude, you're lying.
John's my boy,
He's
dude.
calling me right now.
Dude, no way. Tell me what's up, dude.
It's this is unbelievable. Hold on.
Yeah,
Let me
John
answer
is
that.
my boy.
Hold on.
Yeah, no worries.
Yo, I'm at the market. I'm at the market. We're back. Vince Vargas. Vince, so cool to have you here, man. I mean, especially just on the most patriotic possible day. Did Jordan set that up so that it would be like this?
Oh, no, it kind of. I just told him I was going to be in town. He goes, dude, there's some games. I said, I'm in. Like, we always
Wow.
trying to find baseball during these days, so it's perfect.
So where do you live?
Live in Draper.
Okay, you live in Draper.
Yeah. No, I plan to kind of be more – I'm going to try and be more involved in this league. You
Yeah.
know, like I said, our nonprofit has a program called Healing Through Hitting, and we're going to try and do more veteran and first responder work here with the team and with the league.
Okay, well, you know, so first off, I want to hear about Healing Through Hitting.
Yeah.
But my buddy Shane O'Connor is actually a second lieutenant in the Marines.
Really?
He's about to be first lieutenant. He's about to move up. We've been talking about getting him out here for the World Series to throw out a pitch, and you know he's probably about to get deployed.
Yeah.
I'm not sure where. So I'd love for you to meet him.
Oh, I'd love to.
You know,
Absolutely. I'm here. Like I said, I'm here. You just get my number from Jordan. You got me.
could I put you guys in a chat? He's a great American and he loves the USA.
He
man.
might
He's a great
know who
guy.
I am because of all the stuff we do with the veteran world and everything else.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
I would love to connect the two of you, and I would love to get him out here for a game too.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know,
you let me know. Like I said, I'm not that far from here.
So I'm going to connect. Wait, so where do you live?
Draper.
You live in Draper.
Yeah.
Fantastic. So maybe that night we could have, you know, you could catch him or something like that.
Yeah,
or, you know,
for
that'd
sure.
be kind of cool.
For
Yeah.
sure.
We'll do like, you know, at the World Series. I think.
I'd love to.
Great. And then I want to talk about just the border stuff. I
Yeah.
want to let you go back to your family, but just want to talk about this quick because I think a lot of people are have misconceptions about what's going on. But just in your mind, like, what can you explain about the policies in place?
Yeah.
And how, in your opinion, they're going to better the country versus the latter.
Yeah, it's tough. I think first, immigration policy needed to be reformed many years ago. And just because it's old, there's things that we need to tweak and we need to fine tune. But what's happening currently right now, there's a lot of emotions. The immigration conversation is extremely complex. But I'll tell you this, ICE, they don't make the rules. The executive branch does, right? So
Yep.
this is all, politically, this has all been approved, from above the Department of Homeland Security, right? And so,
Right.
so legislation, everything else has been passed. This is okay for them to do. That's why you don't see the government stepping in. That's why you don't see, you might see cities like California try and step in, but in the end of the day, this is federal law. If you're here in the country illegally and you don't have any kind of papers saying that you have authorizations to be here, then you are liable of getting deported. People have problems with that. They say they're getting kidnapped. Well, that's an unfair use of the term kidnap. You're actually demonizing,
Yep.
and you're not being precise with your language, and you're making it look like they're doing something wrong. They are not criminals. They're law enforcement officers upholding the immigration law. So when you say things like that, you actually demonize this whole concept, and then you create division in the nation, and that's what affects me. That's what I don't like. Things like concentration camps. You can't call a holding facility a concentration camp because you don't like the idea of it. The concentration camp term is used so much that it really, again, demonizes the legalities of the system. Holding facilities are holding facilities. They're detention centers, and they are meant to be that way. They still get 3 hot meals. They get medical. They get lawyers if they can afford them on their own. They get all the due process that everyone's afforded, but no one knows that. So when you hear these terms, it makes you feel like, oh my God, they're going to be treated terribly. No, there is still laws and regulations that have to happen in all detention. And so none of this, it's all getting taken out of context. And the truth is that most people, it's because they don't really understand the immigration process. They don't understand immigration law, and they're emotionally invested into the topic. I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm saying they're emotionally invested in something that they don't know enough about, and they jump on the bandwagon with the terminology that is terrible. And so if they want to be precise, ICE is doing their job that is given to them, the power by legislation, by the government that's been approved at the highest of levels, right? And so if you don't like that, you have to be involved in your voting. You have to be involved in changing things with changing bills, pushing bills to your congressperson, and that's how things work in America. You can be upset, no big deal. You can protest, no big deal. But the truth is, ICE is doing exactly what they're allowed to do as in criminal law, in immigration law. And so that's the problem. It's like
So it is democratic then.
it
Yeah,
is.
yeah.
It is. And the problem is like it doesn't feel good. It doesn't look good when a dad's crying and a mom's crying because you're taking them away and you're deporting them. It doesn't feel good for anyone. But it's no different than someone who's breaking the law and is getting arrested and getting pulled away from their family and going to jail and having to go through their due process and have their case seen. No different. We just don't like the way this feels because it's immigration.
And obviously the media gets involved and twists
the
the
media,
narratives and makes it harder on you guys.
That's the problem.
Yeah.
That's the problem. And look, I definitely support. I understand. I just support the immigration law. I do believe that there's room for adjustments to make it more fair. The streamline the process of becoming a citizen needs to happen. It takes way too long for good people to become citizens of America. There's different levels of it. The DACA stuff we need to talk about. There's things that we need to kind of pay attention to and maybe adjust that makes it more fair for people. But what people don't talk about is in 2024, we allowed 1.5 million people to come into America legally. The legal process works. But when you incentivize the illegal process by giving everyone asylumship like they did during the Biden administration and not making it political but just saying facts, when you do that, you make the legal side of it.
Yeah.
Why would I why would I do it legally, wait 12 years and pay $5K when I could do it for free? Or I can do it for cheaper.
But there is a process, like you said, and 1.4 million people. Like that's a crazy number that I didn't know that.
Almost
I didn't
every
know
year.
that. That's
Almost
a lot
every
of
year.
people.
Yep.
That's a lot. That's it's like the state of Montana, double the state of Montana.
Almost every year we allow over 1 million people legally through the
Wow.
legal process.
Awesome, and this is great information. I'd honestly want to talk to you more about this.
Yeah,
but-
no, I wrote a book called Borderline. You guys can check it out on Amazon. You can
Yep.
find it at your local Barnes & Nobles. It talks about the Border Patrol career field. It differentiates the difference between ICE, Border Patrol, HSI, and so it's something that I think every American should really better understand our immigration system and how it works. And there is a balance. You have to have good immigration policy, but you also have to have good homeland security efforts. And so keeping our country safe, to me, is my utmost importance. That's why I serve this country. And part of that means strong borders.
Lastly,
Yeah.
book. I want to let you get back to your
Yeah, you're
family. Good. Healing through hitting.
Yes.
Super interesting
Yeah,
concept.
healing through
I
hitting.
mean,
So-
yeah.
So as I'm going through my master's, and I got my master's in psychology, I was studying the effects of EMDR. And EMDR, we just talked about earlier in the
Yep.
broadcast. Essentially, it's eye movement therapy. The more your eyes move left and right, you start to trigger your brain to process things appropriately. And now when you're with an the EMDR counselor, they're asking you to bring out your trauma moment, right? The experience that you're bothering you.
Yep.
And they're asking you to do that because your eyes are going left and right, and it's triggering your brain to process appropriately. What happens in post-traumatic stress is that you have an experience that you have not processed the right way, and so you continue to experience that through triggering moments.
Okay.
And so what we do with Healing Through Hitting is we recreate the EMDR, I'll say this, we recreate bilateral eye movement that creates brain stimulation, and then we actually ask them to talk and think about their trauma, and we can heal them, same as EMDR, through hitting a baseball. There's a very specific process, but it has been
Wow.
scientifically proven. Yeah, we've done
Scientifically proven
we've
that
proven
through
this.
hitting a baseball.
You can improve your mental health.
Wait, how?
Because the process of the bilateral eye movement
Yeah.
stimulates the brain, and it causes multiple different effects. And then on top of that, when you talk about hitting, you're talking about flow state. Flow state is something that everyone can talk about. It is a very therapeutic space to get into. So flow state stops time. Those who struggle with post-traumatic stress, their mind kind of goes a lot. This shuts it down and gives you hyper-focus on this moment. Also the physical fitness of hitting a baseball, and then the accomplishment of hitting a baseball. So 4 areas of improving the therapeutic value in hitting a baseball if you do it the right way.
Is golf the same or no?
No, because the bilateral movement of tracking a ball is what stimulates your brain hemispheres.
So it has to be a ball. And someone has to
it
pitch
has
to
to
you.
be a left to right movement of the eyes.
Wow.
That's why EMDR does left to right.
Yep.
Where EMDR first started was the lady who created it. Forget her name right now off the top of my head, but she figured this out by walking through a forest after a hard day. And she looked back and said, what did I do different today that made my day easier? Well, she did walking, and she walked, and she looked left and right as she was walking, and that was the discovery of the method of EMDR. And I took that information and realized, what else do we do in life that looks left and right that we can turn into a therapeutic response? Well, I play college baseball. I hit baseballs all the time when I'm bored, right? And I said, why does hitting a baseball feel so good all the time? Well, it's because when you're doing that, you're tracking the baseball left to right and creating your brain hemispheres to be activated. And then you're stressed out and thinking about the bad stuff that happened that day. And boom, you're healing yourself through hitting.
So there's a double play. That's going to end the inning. Beautifully done. 4-6-3. So this is wild to me.
Yeah.
I mean, so will the veterans have someone literally pitch to them?
Yeah, so what we're doing right now, we have a program. We're working with DBATs right now to try and get it approved across the nation, across the world with DBATs. But essentially what we're working on is getting an app so that they can find a facility that supports, it's called kinetic bilateral neural processing is the scientific term of it, but we'll call it Healing Through Hitting for ease of conversation. What we're trying to do is getting worldwide for people access to go to a batting cage and hit for 3 rounds, which you want about 60 pitches to kind of really activate the hemispheres of the brain and have a process. And so the app itself will have the warm-up, the session, and then the cool-down, so they can kind of go through a whole session. It's essentially going through counseling, but by themselves in their own system, in their own time, and not having to actually verbally say the trauma to anyone. It's a very safe space for veterans and men who have trauma that they don't want to verbalize. They don't want to tell people, People that have been sexually molested don't want to tell that.
Yeah.
So they can go through the process of healing that trauma, deep-rooted trauma, just by hitting a baseball.
What about throwing a baseball?
Well, again, it doesn't create the same process. You need left-to-eye movement of the eyes. Now, throwing, if I'm tracking the ball, maybe, but it's a more definite.
Because I love throwing.
Yeah.
It's very therapeutic for me personally.
Yeah.
I go out here before games a lot, and we'll just tell the guys I want to throw.
Yeah.
Just because if I sit too long.
just think about the left eye bilateral movement. I'm sure there's many other things in our life that we can think about like that. Sometimes people like to go on long drives. I believe it creates a similar effect of looking left and right and watching the roads.
Yep.
Long hikes, like people that hike say, man, it feels good. Like, yeah, part of the the endorphins and all that stuff when you're walking, but still looking left to right is what helps. So it's just really interesting that I just dug deeper into why EMDR was successful and how could I recreate that with something else.
Amazing, dude. It's really
Yeah,
cool.
there's
It's
a book. I
really
wrote a
cool.
book on it. It's a small 67-page book. It's on Amazon. It's called Healing Through Hitting. You guys can check that out. It's an easy read, but it really breaks it down. And also for those who are, say, coaches or practitioners who want to learn more about it, you guys can read up on the techniques and stuff that we've tested and proven. I mean, we've done brain scans on individuals who do the hitting, and it shows a significant change in stressors and everything else.
And real quick, just how did this idea come to you?
I was hitting baseballs, and I told my wife, I don't know why it makes me feel so good. And then going through college, we were studying EMDR, and I told my wife, like, I believe hitting a baseball creates the same effects of EMDR. And I started asking questions to some high-level EMDR practitioners, and one of them who has a doctorate, she's really recognized in California, she says, I think your hypothesis is plausible. I'd love to see it tested. And we went out and tested it with several psychologists and a brain scan neuroscientist, and it proved to be effective.
Wow.
Yeah.
Lastly, evolutionarily, why is this the case?
Explain. What do you mean?
Like, going back to ancient humans, like why does this work to calm people down?
I believe we have to get to a place where we're healing ourselves. And I think sometimes having an enabler or even a counselor can slow down the progress of ourself really working through our traumas.
Yep.
And creating something where men can go and do it on their own. I believe it's the healthiest version of kind of putting on your own pants, like doing it for yourself, and people taking action and working on their own selves on their own time. I think it's probably going to be the most successful version of therapy you could find.
Amazing. They're calling time
No, you're
by
good.
in the game anyway. Amazing. So, please read his book, Healing Through Hitting. It's by Vince Vargas. I honestly, I could talk to you forever.
I know.
Honestly.
I
don't
see
wanna get back
my
to your
daughter.
family, and I
See my
sit there
daughter looking at me.
So yeah, amazing stuff. I mean, you're a patriot. You're obviously amazing. You're a veteran.
Yep.
We appreciate you, and we love this country, and we're grateful for you being here,
Thank
man.
you.
You're
I
an
appreciate
amazing human being. And
Appreciate it, brother.
I love your Jesus. Also, casting that show, and he'll be writing some new stuff coming up. We're gonna step aside. We got a weather delay here at the ballpark, but stay with us. We'll be hopefully right back with more baseball.
What are you doing down here, big dog?
Hanging, staying dry.
It's got to be yours.
We thought it was hailing earlier.
Oh, hail. Crushed in South Jordan earlier. The best is like there was no forecast for rain again today.
Yeah, it was
I
zero.
think earlier.
It was zero.
So I get how one band maybe it comes across, but like this is we really needed to die out. I really don't know how to desert fireworks in the out. Yeah, we'll be back.
On a baseball.
Yes, sir. How was a weird day though?
Can we get that butt thing?
Give me what?
Can we get that butt thing? The song?
That bud thing?
That butt thing. I don't like.
That bud thing?
It's not sexually inappropriate.
It's not appropriate?
No, it's appropriate. It's a good song.
What's it called?
That butt thing. More of that swamp pop. Nickel State, stand up, baby. The same guy.
What? That bud?
That butt. B-U-T-T. Fang.
That butts?
Yeah. Fang.
I thought he was just kind of holding up. So I started walking around. Oh, it's the Horace Trehan and the new Usan Express again. You'd have to be from Houma, Louisiana. Appreciate this here, this part.
All of our Utah guys liked it. And Nichols.
Oh, this is going to be this way for a while now. That's where we are. It's all coming.
Oh, we're just getting smacked or what?
Holy shit! Did you see it?
It's red.